Welcome to the Path to Mindset Mastery. My name is Brad Bizjack. I'm a mindset strategist and coach, inspirational speaker, and creator of Appreciation Academy, and I help online business owners break through all the negative self-talk, holding you back from your dreams so you can finally see the success that you deserve. And let's start out today with a question. Are you ever affected by other people's opinions? I'm talking haters. And today's podcast is all about something that I've had to work on myself. By no means am I perfect at this, but I want to talk about haters because you're going to face them if you do big things. You cannot create your dreams without judgment along the way. It's going to happen. And if you're not facing haters, it's probably a sign that you're not playing big enough and you're trying to play it safe. So, do you ever face that though? Like you're crushing the day, it's going so well, and then one comment from a hater takes you down like 20 pegs, and you don't know how to gain control of your emotions again. The old me used to wallow in my sorrows, and I'd take the day off, and I'd watch Criminal Minds on the couch, and I need something else to make me feel better, but because I used to think that my emotions were out of my control, which is not true at all. Your emotions are 100% within your control. Or maybe you get a negative review or a customer that doesn't see the results that you like and you start to doubt your worth a little bit. And it hurts, doesn't it? It hurts a lot. Sure it does. Of course it does. My feelings were hurt today. I received a negative email about my abilities as a coach. I remember for a few minutes, I questioned myself. It took a lot of focus not to respond negatively, not to get defensive. It took a lot of focus not to let it affect my day. And it took a lot of focus to turn it into an amazing piece of inspiration to create this podcast for you. Because if I'm focused on myself and what I'm not getting, then I can't help anyone. But if I'm focused on other people, I can serve and uplift and live my mission of helping you break through the negative self-talk that holds you back from your dreams. But it comes from having a service-first mindset and using what I go through or what you go through to help other people. So you're talking to someone right now that grew up craving validation, never feeling like I was enough for people in my life. And I just had this desperate need to be liked. And so I had this expectation, right? If other people liked me, it meant that I was enough. Well, in this world, especially when you're trying to build a business, meaning going against the status quo, what's the likelihood that everyone is going to like me? 0. So what's the percent chance that I consistently feel like enough? 0. Because I had that rule that I was using in my life. So I remember I literally used to change my personality around different people just so I would be liked and accepted. So if someone didn't show me the love that I craved, I felt like something was wrong with me. It was like I was chasing a ghost. And whenever I'd get a hater, I'd go into shutdown mode. And so I get haters a lot sometimes. They come up from time to time. People in my immediate family have told me consistently that I have no empathy, right? Like, which doesn't make sense because my entire job is empathy. People in my extended family have told me that I prey on people's insecurities for personal gain. Like, that's hurtful to hear sometimes, right? That I prey on people's insecurities for personal gain. People that I don't even know and have never met or have never talked to have called me a complete fraud. All these things going again and again and again. Like, there's so many different scenarios of when I've been hated on in my career, but what makes it so much easier to deal with is all the lives that have been touched. It's all the people who have had these amazing breakthroughs in their life, their business, their marriage, so many amazing things. So my point in bringing that up is I've had my fair share of haters over the years, and I've learned how to master the feelings that come when you get rattled by one, because I've been rattled by them. I was rattled by one today. So I'd like to share that with you. So when you're facing haters, you know how to deal with them. You know how to take those feelings and turn them around into something good for other people, just like I'm doing with this podcast. So first of all, please realize that you will never be hated on by someone doing better than you in your field. Write that down. You will never be hated on by someone doing better than you in your field. You won't. It does not happen. The hatred only comes from people that see you going after something that makes them reflect on what they're not yet able to do in their own life. And this includes family and spouses, by the way. Family and spouses can be haters, but there's a different type that I'll talk about in a minute. You have to think about whose opinions you want to use as mentorship, even if it's your spouse. Do you want to take your spouse's opinion on business if they've never built a business? Do you want to take it's like taking, like if you were to take financial advice from your broke parents, right? It wouldn't make sense. You want to focus on people that have what you want in that field, use their opinion to build your life and your business. So think about who you're taking mentorship from. Do you want to use the opinions of people that don't have what you want? So James Wedmore has a great quote: don't take constructive criticism from people who haven't constructed anything. It's so important that you understand that. Don't take constructive criticism from people that haven't constructed anything. So don't use the opinions of other people that don't have what you want. Do you do that, or do you use the opinions of people that have gone after what you want and crushed it? So my reason for asking that, because when I got that hateful email today, I used the skills that I'm going to teach you later in this podcast, and I remember that this person isn't someone that's an inspiration in my life for what I want to reach towards. Right? There were excuses being thrown around. There were negative things about my abilities as a leader and a coach and all this stuff. And so I'm like, wait, is that actually the type of mindset that I want to role model or and get involved with? And the answer was no. So I'm not going to listen to that opinion. And I recommend you do the same when you get haters, because if you don't, you'll end up letting someone who is a warning sign in your life stop you from becoming an example in other people's lives. Write this down. Every person in your life is an example or a warning. Every person. So you don't want to use a warning sign as something to play ball with. You want to use the examples of, right? So if you don't do this, you'll end up letting someone who's a warning sign in your life stop you from becoming an example in other people's lives. It's not fair. So there's two types of haters that I've come across over the years. There are 1, hurting haters, and 2, loving haters. And there's a big difference between the two of them with some similarities. So hurting haters are people that don't have any incentive to keep your best interests in mind. These are people that feel that they need to tear other people down because they can't build themselves up, right? They think that if they want to build the highest building in the city, they don't build the highest building, they tear all the other buildings down, they keep this little small building, right? That's what those people are. These are the people that are sitting in the bleachers but not playing in the game. Gary Vaynerchuk said, the people who are booing aren't on the field, they bought tickets to watch. And it's so true here. These people are sitting on the sidelines, not going after big things in their life, not taking responsibility for their life, blaming other people for their problems, and are personally victimized when other people succeed. Do you know anyone like that? And if you do, are they on your board of directors? Meaning people that you value their opinion highly. If they are, get them off of that council. You need people that are playing ball at a high level on that board of directors. That's a whole other topic. But an example of this would be someone in my extended family that I haven't talked to in like 10 years. She'll see a Facebook post about one of my clients succeeding and how their entire mindset, their entire life has changed, their marriage has changed, they have more clarity than ever before, all this stuff. And she'll write this long comment about how I'm scum and how I'm a worthless piece of shit that preys on other people's insecurities and all this stuff. And I'm like, I thought you were my family, right? But that's what will happen on my post. And so, but in those moments, I need to remember that this person isn't someone playing the same game that I am. They're not building a business changing lives. They're not someone whose opinion I hold highly. So I'm not going to let it affect me. And I'll get into how to deal with these people in just a minute. But first, I want to talk about the second type of hater. And this type of hater is someone that's much more difficult to deal with because you actually give a shit what they think. And these are loving haters, meaning your immediate family, your spouse, your closest friends. Those are your loving haters. And so how do we deal with those? We'll talk about in a minute, but I get a lot of questions about spousal support in my business, right? And when your spouse doesn't support you, that is a form of a hater, right? Of course it is. That makes sense. But when someone close to you hates on your work, it's a very different intention. It is not because they are actually hating on you. It's because they love you and want to protect you from pain. So their intentions are very, very good. You need to remember that. Your spouse isn't telling you to stop because they don't love you or don't believe in you. They're telling you it's a waste of time because they don't want to see you fail and get hurt. So they actually have your best interest in mind. It's just misplaced. An example of this in my own personal life is when I was pricing out Appreciation Academy. I knew it was worth so much more than I was charging for it. I knew it. I knew it was worth so much more than what I was charging for it. And I also knew that people wouldn't take me seriously if I told them I was going to change their entire life for a minimal investment. So I talked to my wife about doubling my prices. I'm like, I feel like people's lives will be more impacted if they take this more seriously from seeing a higher price point. And she was totally against it. Totally against it. She was saying how she didn't agree because we haven't had success at the lower price point yet. And she's very risk averse. I'm very pro risk, right? So I guess opposites attract. But in that moment, I could have gotten really, really pissed, thinking she doesn't support me and she doesn't love me. But that wouldn't be true, right? Because I could realize that she really does love me and she wants to make sure I succeed. Her intentions were very good. And both responses have completely different outcomes. So the best medicine to dealing with loving haters is to put yourself in their shoes. Think about your spouse. If they're hating on your business, for example, chances are that when you talk to them about your business, ask yourself if this is you, when you talk to your spouse about your business, you're talking about the frustrations of what's not working and how you're not where you want to be yet, and all this time and effort you're putting to feel significant that you're working so hard at something because you want them to be proud of you. But you're talking about the frustrations of what's not working, right? And that's what they see. And then on top of that, they see all this time spent away from them with minimal dollars coming in. That's what they see. And then since opposites attract, if you're building a business, you're probably very pro-risk and they're probably risk averse. So they see this risky thing that you're doing, even though it's not that risky at all. The greatest risk is not doing anything, but they might not see that in their current mindset, right? So they see this really risky thing that you're doing that's not bringing dollars in, that causes you to be frustrated on a day-to-day basis, talking to them about it. And then they see you scrolling your phone and answering messages or getting on Instagram stories or whatever it is when you're supposed to be present with your kids. And if they see all of that for no financial gain and just a net loss of time and money and focus away from the family, are they actually hating, or are you causing it without realizing it? That's a huge thing that a lot of people need to realize, that a lot of the time with spousal support, it can be changed by shifting your own focus. Meaning, instead of sharing what's not working in your business and the frustrations you see, share the wins and how you love it and how it lights you up. That would change their opinion, wouldn't it? And then when you're with them, be fully present so they don't feel like they're losing you. And then have structured business hours that you stick to where you laser focus in on your business and then shut it down for the rest of the day. That would change their opinion too, wouldn't it? You can change spousal support most of the time. You absolutely can most of the time. But sometimes when it comes to both type of haters, spousal support, immediate family, people you're in your close friend group, and those hurting haters, sometimes you're going to get it either way, even if you do all the things right. So how do you deal with both loving haters and hurting haters? If you're doing the things right, there's a few ways to do it. Number one, realize that most of the time, haters come into your life when they're hurting, or if you going after your dreams is poking a nerve in regards to what they value that they're not going after themselves. So most of the time it's because they are hurting. So we need to have compassion and realize that most people that are mean or not supporting you are deeply hurting. So please put this in your notes. Hurt people hurt people. So what if you decided to take the higher road? What if you chose compassion in those moments instead of defense? What if you extended love when they extended hate? Wouldn't their opinion of you change? Would it increase the intensity or decrease the intensity of the situation? It would decrease the intensity of the situation. That's number one. It's having some compassion and empathy for these people that are hating on you. They're probably hurting, and we need to have that compassion for what they're going through. It'll change the entire situation. Number two is set your intentions. If you know you're about to walk into the room with an emotionally unstable person or someone that hates on you on a regular basis, set your intentions of how you are going to respond with love and compassion before you even walk in. Anticipation is power, not just in your skill sets in your business, but in emotions and dealing with people. Anticipation is power. And if you get reactive in the moment when they say something that pokes that nerve, it doesn't go well, does it? But instead, if you're proactive before the moment, the game will change. So that's number two, set your intentions. Number three, stop trying to correct haters. Stop trying to correct them. All it does is it brings you down to their level. It creates more hatred. And on top of that, if it's a loving hater, meaning someone in your family that you're trying to correct, what you're really doing is saying, I'm judging you for having that opinion. And it's impossible to love someone if you're judging them. So they won't feel loved, so their defense will go even higher. They'll put up a bigger guard, and you've caused your business to be not supported even more. So stop trying to correct haters. It brings you down to their level. It creates more hatred from people that you could be helping. Because if you're correcting these people, let's say in a social media comment, you get defensive and type back something negative, something defensive. Instead of your target audience seeing you as an inspiration by taking the higher road, they see you sinking down to the hater's level and getting into a pissing match that you don't control. So don't play defense with haters. Sure, sometimes if someone is bad-mouthing your name to the entire world and everyone you know, yeah, action's got to be taken there. That's a little bit different. An example of that would be Tony Robbins in this past situations with the sexual allegations and him sharing like videos of all these like people that prove that this news article was not true, right? That would be a different situation. But if it's these one-off things with individual haters, don't sink down to their level. But like when those little comments happen, it's a waste of time to try to correct their opinion because it's like if someone shares their political opinion with you, is that going to change your political opinion, or is it going to make you stand stronger in your political opinion and think that their political opinion is not useful, right? It's going to make you get more defensive. So it's a waste of mental energy to focus on it. So that's number 3. Don't correct them. And number 4, and this is the one that takes the most power. Love them. Love your haters. I want you to think about haters like a little puppy that bites you. Like, think about it. Like, most haters are kind of powerless. They feel like they don't have control over their own lives. So think about haters as a little puppy that bites you. It hurts like hell because those puppies got those razor sharp teeth. But you know the intention deep down is not to cause pain. Most haters are not hateful people. Put that in your notes. Most haters are not hateful people. They're hurting people, so have some love. Those puppy teeth will eventually go away and they'll learn to not bite. But that'll happen when you love them even though they bite you. Does that make sense? I think that's a good metaphor for here. And overall with this entire concept, haters can teach you a very valuable lesson. It means you're doing something right. It means you have a mission that you're trying to fulfill, because in order to start any business, you're going against the status quo. You're not doing the average. And to succeed in your field, you need a completely different way of thinking than most people have in this world. Remember, most people are not in your field. Most people don't have what they want. Most people don't have genuine happiness. Most people don't have their dreams. Most people are not entrepreneurs. Most people don't need to adopt the mindsets that you do in order to succeed. So if you're getting haters, it means that you're being noticed. That's a good thing. It means that you're making noise. It means that you're causing a ruckus because you're challenging the way people think. And that's why you'll succeed, by challenging the way people think. This podcast is challenging the way you think. Because if you don't challenge the way people think, you can't create change. Most people that are listening to your content or hearing your content or reading your content, most people will respond to you challenging them in a positive way. They'll be open-minded to it. Most people are great about that. Some won't. And those are your haters, and that's okay. So just remember that if you're getting haters, it's a sign that you're playing big enough. And if you're not getting haters, this is important. If you're not getting haters, step it up a little more. Play a little bigger. Share your message and your mission a little bolder. If you haven't gotten haters, it's likely, not always, but likely, a sign that you play it safe in your life. And please put this in your notes. You cannot create your dreams by playing it safe. Realism is the fastest traveled road to mediocrity. If you play it safe, you will end up in mediocrity. It is not a fun place to be. I lived it. So welcome haters. They're a good thing. It's a sign that you're crushing it. They cause you to exercise higher levels of character. They cause you to reflect on your mission. They cause you to be a bigger person. And please remember, please remember, your job is not to get everyone to like you. Not everyone will like you. That's okay. Your job is to find the people that need your message and focus on serving and loving them. That's it. Focus on serving and loving them. So I hope you took a lot away from this podcast today. Share it. Screenshot this. Share it on your Instagram stories. Share it with your team. It'll really help them when they deal with haters so they can bounce back faster and all of your businesses can grow. And if it's really helping you, head on to iTunes, give it a rating and a review. We can get this great content into more people if this is a higher rated podcast, and that will inspire more people to change their life. So thank you so much for tuning in to the Path to Mindset Mastery today. My name is Brad Bizjack. Go out there today and every day and live your life with a genuine smile on your face, regardless of what anyone else says. I'll see you next week.